as Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri duelled it out on track in search of the upper hand in F1's 2025 title battle. Behind them, a furious Charles Leclerc vented at his team as another race fell to pieces. An almost unbelievable pole position for Leclerc fell to bits as the Monegasque driver, who now has an appalling pole position conversion rate of 1 win in his last 16 poles, vented at his team for some secretive changes that Ferrari made to his car mid-race. Further back, Lewis Hamilton was struggling in his battle against midfield teams and rookie drivers to try and improve on his 12th place qualifying position. It was a disastrous weekend for the Scudderia, and while the cause of it all remained a secret during the race, the circumstances surrounding Hamilton's lack of pace and Leclerc's collapse from first place reveals what could have been an even worse weekend for Ferrari. Today, I'll check out Hamilton's race weekend and talk about how Leclerc came incredibly close to being disqualified in Hungary, so don't go anywhere. Hamilton endured one of his worst ever weekends at the Hungarian Grand Prix. His failure to make it through Q2 left him 12th on the grid for Sunday's race, while his teammate managed to secure pole position, Ferrari's first of the season, and for much of the race looked capable of securing the win. Hamilton has struggled to get to grips with his new team so far this season. The 7-time world champion is 12-5 down to Leclerc on their qualifying head-to-head this year, at an average pace difference of 0.146 seconds. His form on Saturdays in 2025 continues the struggles in qualifying that Hamilton had against George Russell in his final year at Mercedes last season. It has been easy at times to say that he was adjusting to the car, but in Hungary, Lewis made it clear that this failure was nothing to do with the car. "I drove terribly. It is what it is. I'm just useless," and said his lack of pace was nothing to do with the car. While Hamilton had started the season poorly compared to his teammate, that shock win at the Chinese Grand Prix sprint race aside, he has gotten closer in recent races. He's rarely bested Leclerc, but he has at least come close at times. The last 2 weekends though, Hamilton has really started to struggle again. In Spa the weekend before last, it was 2 mistakes in 2 laps which left him out of qualifying in Q1. At that Belgian Grand Prix, Ferrari introduced a new rear suspension which, in addition to being aimed at allowing them to run the car lower without risking damaging the floor to the extent the car failed its post-race legality tests, was also intended to improve drivability when combined with a new floor that was introduced 3 races ago in Austria. Leclerc said that revisions to the car at the last race in Belgium had helped his confidence when pushing to the limit over 1 qualifying lap. Sadly, they don't seem to have helped Hamilton at all. After the Grand Prix, Hamilton was distraught with his performance. From 12th on the grid, he was expected to make some progress, especially with a Haas and 2 Racing Bulls ahead of him. But despite that Haas retiring from the race, Hamilton still finished 12th, losing a position to the advancing Mercedes of Andrea Kimi Antonelli. Speaking after the race, Hamilton said, "There's a lot going on in the background that is not great. So, I'm sure there are positives to take from the weekend, and I'm sure there's learnings." As is often the case when Hamilton struggles, not only does his mood plummet, but the F1 rumour mill spins into overdrive. Was Hamilton over the hill? Some wondered after qualifying. Would he even quit Ferrari at the end of the year, or perhaps even before the end of the season? That one at least Hamilton rejected, saying he would be back in the car at the Dutch Grand Prix at the end of August after F1's summer break. "I'm looking forward to coming back," he said. "I'll be back, yeah." Hamilton didn't help stop the rumour mill by saying that Ferrari should change driver after his qualifying performance though. It was a bruising weekend for the Ferrari driver, who could use a run of good results to get him back into a good headspace. But while his performance compared to his teammate may have been disappointing, there may have been more to it than just a deficit in driver performance. Charles Leclerc's surprising radio tirade mid-race caught the F1 world off guard, as a Ferrari driver raged at his engineer for some secret change to the car mid-race which destroyed his pace. Before I talk about that and why Leclerc was on the edge of disqualification, if you're enjoying the video and want to catch more news and analysis from this F1 season, then make sure to press the like button and subscribe to F1 Reverse. Thanks a lot. When Charles Leclerc took to the team radio to vent at his engineer that he'd lost all competitiveness after the team made his car completely undrivable by making a change to it during the pit stop, it baffled the commentators. Something had clearly happened as Leclerc's pace disappeared and Oscar Piastri breezed past the Ferrari driver at the first time of asking. After the race, the team tried to brush it away, claiming a chassis issue meant that Leclerc almost didn't finish the race, but their vague comments look like a thinly veiled attempt to hide something much worse. Team boss Fred Vasseur said after the Grand Prix, "Well, I must say that the situation was quite strange, that we were under control the first 40 laps of the race, that we were very in control the first stint, a bit more difficult the second one, but it was still manageable. And the last stint was a disaster, very difficult to drive, that the balance was not there, and honestly, we don't know exactly what's happened so far. It means that we have to investigate if we have something broken on the chassis side or whatever. But at one stage, I thought that we'll never finish the race, that we can be lucky in this situation to score points of a P4. Leclerc said something similar post-race, but few believed him. His radio message, berating the team for making changes during his pit stops without asking him, hinted at something bigger. There were hints to what it was in Ferrari's qualifying pace. The SF25 is not that fast. It shouldn't have been able to take pole position by almost 0.03 of a second. Especially with Leclerc running a surprisingly low downforce setup on a track that normally demands almost Monaco levels of downforce. When Leclerc started the race with that same surprising pace, it was clear that Ferrari had found some trick to help their driver. That trick was their ride height. Leclerc's Ferrari was throwing up sparks like it was bonfire night. The one other time that Ferrari have looked like race winners this season was in China, where Hamilton made the most of a car that would be disqualified from the Grand Prix for illegal plank wear to take a commanding victory in the sprint race. That performance was on the back of a very low ride height. That low ride height caught Ferrari out in China, and in Hungary, it looked like they were trying to slam their car to the ground to make use of the performance that the SF25 has when it is run low. That also explained Leclerc's low downforce setup. With the car close to the ground, Ferrari didn't want a load of downforce pushing the car into the ground on the straights and wearing out the plank. The performance gains from running close to the ground must have offset the loss of performance from running less downforce on a normally extremely downforce-dependent circuit. By running so close to the ground, they could qualify strongly, which they did, and then hope to command the race from the front, something they almost managed. However, Ferrari got worried. They must have been watching Leclerc's Ferrari spark its way down the pit straight every lap and made the decision that the plank wear was getting too much. The hints that a problem was developing was there before the pit stop on lap 40, which caused Leclerc's race to fall apart. On lap 22, 8 laps after his first stop, he said on the team radio, "I can feel what we discussed before the race. We need to discuss this before we do it. We are going to lose this race with this thing. I'm now losing so much time." What he was feeling was almost certainly the way the rubber had heated up beyond its optimum as a consequence of running higher tyre pressure so as to increase the ride height and keep the plank wear within the legal limit. It was a big gamble by Ferrari, but one that almost worked. If rain had come down on Sunday, which looked possible, then Leclerc would have gotten away with its low ride height. If Oscar Piastri hadn't pushed Leclerc so hard, he could have lifted and coasted at the end of straights more to preserve his plank better. If there had been some safety cars, that might have offered enough laps of gentle driving to keep the plank legal. Sadly for the Scudderia, none of that happened. George Russell benefited from Leclerc's dying performance as he passed the Ferrari to claim a podium finish. After the race, he said, "He's not going to tell you that they're close to being illegal. The only thing we can think of is they were running the car too low to the ground and they had to increase the tyre pressures for the last stint," he said. Russell said that when he caught Leclerc, he noticed the Ferrari were using an engine mode that was making the engine slower at the end of the straight, which is where you have the most amount of plank wear. That's the only thing we can think of based upon the lap times and the engine mode they were running and stuff like that. Essentially, Ferrari had to reduce Leclerc's top speed to reduce the amount of downforce being generated at the end of the straights to reduce his plank wear. It explains why Piastri breezed past the Ferrari with such ease and why Leclerc had to get so aggressive in his defense against George Russell. It was an issue that Hamilton didn't have to deal with either, which explains why the gap between the two was so vast in qualifying and then the race. Unfortunately for Leclerc and Ferrari, what could have been a stunning first win of the season instead turned into yet another headline-grabbing fiasco, which Ferrari are all too well known for at this point. What did you think of Ferrari's Hungarian Grand Prix? Let me know in the comments down below, and if you want to support the channel, then make sure to check out f1reverse.com to get yourself some sweet F1 inspired merch. Until next time, drive safe and bye for now.